sustainability and ESG.
Yeah.
There've been phrases we've been hearing for quite a while now. Do you see clients that you're speaking to prioritize those when they're making investment decisions and project decisions?
Well, so I think we saw a few years ago, we saw a big rush on sustainability suddenly coming to the fore, and everybody, was making sure they had a chief sustainability officer. And sometimes you were thinking, weren't you like in charge of like BD or marketing? Like, yesterday you got another new title now, and every fund or whatever had a chief sustainability officer because investors into the funds and into our various clients as well became very hot on this. And then even switching industries a little bit, like, one of our biggest companies, BP, British Petroleum, moved to an and not or type strategy as well, saying, well, look, we're doing, we're not just doing natural resources, we're also looking at like, or sort of resources out of the ground, we're also looking at sustainable resources, solar and, wind and wave, etc. as well. I would say, and that became very popular. And we saw, again, going back to our discussion earlier on themes that people have for their companies and their funds, etc. as well. We had a lot of brown to green funds. They were kind of termed in terms of turning offices rather than building new offices, which have a huge environmental impact in terms of the concrete as well. So even if you have a nice, shiny, very low energy office, if you just built it, you possibly will have spent quite a lot of money in building it, which will take a lot of years to kind of like come back in terms of the payback environmentally. So a lot of brown to green refurbishment of offices rather than building new ones, which can be more ESG friendly, for example, as well. And obviously, as we get towards like the various ambitions in terms of net zero, those regulations will get higher and higher. So more will be required in terms of renewing the stock to a much more energy efficient, environmentally friendly way. I would say that has been hit, going back to my BP example, where they seem to have like reverted back from that now, and they seem to be making statements about shareholder value being the prime focus, and not mentioning the kind of the net zero approach as much as before. And I think that is also true with regards to our real estate investments. I should say, unfortunately, and sometimes at the end of the day, they're there to provide shareholder returns. Now, stakeholders may have sustainability as part of the return, but the focus will always be on the monetary value. So I would say there was a big push on that, and there continues to be areas that people focus on in that area. But at the end of the day, when there are pressures such as interest rates going up and other things as well, and housing supply and things that need to be solved, people will always revert to the economic side as well as the sustainability side as well.
Yeah,
I don't know, is that the same in Australia?
Yeah. So our government has brought in some mandatory sustainability reporting. So there's sort of 3 groups, and as they're coming online, obviously they're having to really look at their ESG sustainability, all of that type of thing. But I don't think without that it would have gained as much traction as what it has done recently. So I think that continual government focus on lifting the standards, which is expected by the community, essentially. They expect our businesses to be doing better. But I think without that, I think ultimately, like you said, it's sort of nice to have, but if it really came down to the crunch, they sort of want to do both.
Yeah.
But yeah, shareholder is probably going to win out at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, I think so. There is kind of like a burning platform in terms of, we need to hit net zero 2050 or whatever. So in the various different jurisdictions. So that regulation is just going to increase, so it will need to be complied with. And again, as we've referred to earlier, it's kind of part of the new normal and becoming an increasing part of the new normal for people to comply with that for the benefits of ourselves and our future generations as well. So, no one's going to thank us for just prioritizing financial returns, in a few generations' time. So, they both need to be considered, but those dual pressures are weighing on everyone, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's going to be interesting, obviously, with the US pulling out of the Paris Agreement, what happens there. If anyone else follows suit, or when Trump's not in administration anymore, whether the new
That's right.
president puts them back in it. I think it's going to be an interesting wait and see for how that plays out over the next few years. But as you said, I think we don't have any choice but to try and improve and do better for the generations that are going to come after us.